Welcome to the New Orleans Regional Black Chamber of Commerce Annual Policy Luncheon 2019. I would like to first give thanks to our host, sponsor, Mr. Michael Smith and the Hyatt Regency Hotel team, as well as our title sponsor, PSAV, for providing this beautiful venue, premium audio visual, and delicious lunch for today. If you can, please give them a round of applause. Thank you for hosting us. My name is Kalisha Garrett, and I am the Executive Director for the New Orleans Regional Black Chamber of Commerce. As individual member business organizations, corporate partners, and community members, we are thankful that each of you have chosen to support the mission of the NORBCC and our effort to encourage deliberate spending 365 through the intentional support of our local and regional minority-owned businesses. As you can see, this is the largest minority business luncheon in the region. As such, it is our hope that you can connect with some of our members and partners here today in effort to spur business relationships that impact our member businesses in a positive way. I hope that you enjoy the lunch provided by our host, the information shared by our speakers, and moreover, identify a new minority business organization who can provide a product or service need for your organization. At this time, I would like to recognize the elected officials, public servants, and board commissioners who are here who have given up their time to serve our community. Governor John Barrow Edwards, Mayor LaToya Cantrell, St. John Parish President Natalie Rowbottom, Jefferson Parish Parish President Michael Yenny, Senator Troy Carter, Representative Gary Carter Jr., Representative Royce Duplessis, Representative Jimmy Harris, Mayor Cromer of Slidell, Councilmember Joseph Geruso, Councilmember Cynthia Lee Shane, Judge Regina Bartholomew Woods, Judge Sandra Jenkins, Judge Nikisha Irvin Knott, Judge Paula Brown, Clerk of Court Chelsea Richard, Judge King, Director of Aviation Kevin Dolio, Executive Director of the Sewage and Water Board Gassan Carbon, Orleans Parish Board Superintendent Henderson Lewis, School Board Member Ben Cleveland, School Board Member Leslie Ellison, Dr. Walter Kimbrough, Dr. Verrett, and Mr. John Nicolo. If there are any elected officials or commissioners that I have not spoke of, if you would please stand, we would like to recognize you as well. Thank you for your attention, and we will move forward in the program.
Dear Lord, we thank you for this day and for the blessings of this day. Thank you for that, for all that you've done for us already. Thank you for the Black Chambers of Commerce and all that are here to celebrate with them. We ask you to do all that you do, and all that we do is to give you thanks for all that you do. Even bless the food that we've already eaten. Bless it now, dear Lord, as we move forward. In Jesus' name, amen.
Good afternoon. Can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good afternoon. I am Margaret Montgomery Short, the chair of the New Orleans Regional Black Chamber, and I just want to say welcome, 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 and wow. All I can say is wow. Over 1,000 in attendance today. We are so excited. Another wow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to all of our sponsors. A special thank you to Mr. Michael Smith with the Hyatt. Thank you to all our sponsors at every level. We are so excited. Thank you to all the small businesses, women-owned businesses, minority businesses here this afternoon. I would like to ask the members of the Board of Directors for the New Orleans Regional Black Chamber to please stand and be recognized. Would all our board members please stand? Where did our executive director disappear? She's always moving. Miss Kalisha Garrett. Give Kalisha a round of applause because she's the reason this came to fruition. And our staff, Sierra, Tara, and Jasmine, who supported her in this process. According to the U.S. Small Business Administration, small businesses represent 99.9% of all U.S. businesses. As of 2018, the SBA estimated there are 30.2 billion small businesses employing a total of 58.9 million workers. Is that not phenomenal? Would every small business owner in the room please stand? Stand up and be recognized because you are the engine. Governor Edwards, Madam Mayor, the small businesses in this room, minority and women-owned business in this room, are the drivers of the local, state, and national economy. The mission of the New Orleans Regional Black Chamber is to empower and sustain African American businesses, but all small businesses, minority business, through entrepreneurship and economic activities in the greater New Orleans region and the global economy. Our membership is over 500 strong, and we are increasing every day. Our service delivery area is 10 parishes: Jefferson, Orleans, Plaquemines, St. Bernard, St. Tammany, St. Charles, St. James, St. John, Tangipahoa, and Washington parishes. We're all over the place, all over Southeast Louisiana. Our pillars of service are aligned with the U.S. Black Chamber, as well as the recently established Louisiana Chamber of Commerce Foundation, which is our statewide organization. We are about advocacy. Advocacy, fighting for legislation to promote small business growth and development. Access to capital. We all know access to capital is the most important factor, but is the one that's limiting the establishment, expansion, and growth of small, minority, and women-owned businesses. Contracting. Our goal is to level the playing field by helping members gain access to business opportunities in the private and public sectors. Entrepreneurial training. We want to provide education opportunities for our members wherever we can, wherever they need it. And board development. As your chair for the next 2 years, my vision is laser focused on the sustainability of the New Orleans Regional Black Chamber, continuing to enhance the benefits to our members in the areas of advocacy. That is still about the policies and rules and legislation that impact small and minority businesses. Access to capital as we venture and launch new partnerships in the public and private sector. Contracting opportunities and awareness, just awareness of what business opportunities are out there. Networking. We know the importance of networking, and this is an excellent room to do that today. And education opportunities, because we know education is still the key, and all successful business owners know that they need to continue to grow and learn, lifelong learning. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, LaToya Cantrell serves as the 62nd mayor of New Orleans, our great city. On May 7, 2018, she made history when she was sworn in to serve as the first woman mayor of our great city, New Orleans. Mayor Cantrell, we know for the last 325 days, you've been working like a beaver. And we also know small business and women-owned businesses know that you understand our role and that you're committed to our growth and development. We are so excited about the initiative that was launched last week, the Bill NOLA for Mobilization Fund. This program, yeah, give it a round of applause because this program is a win for business owners and entrepreneurs and women of color. Madam Mayor, we know you're a huge advocate for the small and women-owned business. You're an advocate for New Orleanians, and we know that you're out to get us a fair share. Without further ado, let us welcome our Mayor, LaToya Cantrell, to the stage.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Madam President, and thank you all so much. I appreciate it. I do appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. I do appreciate it. And it does matter, and thank you so much. To our Honorable Governor John Bell Edwards, our State Representative Gary Carter, who is also on the program, Kalisha Garrett, the Executive Director, and thank you all so much for being here to continue to support the New Orleans Regional Black Chamber of Commerce. This is so important. But let me tell you, you know, like I do, rattling off the improvements that we've seen as it relates to business growth, as it relates to diversifying our economy, technology, advancing. We know that. Now, while we're winning in so many different areas, whether it's that new airport coming alive, and it is real, it is, and we're going to appreciate it, and we're going to see that it will impact our entire region along with the entire state of Louisiana, and I'm so proud of the improvements that are going on. But while we can rattle off areas that we are improving, and I will say, yes, we are winning, but the reality is, as you've heard me say before, we have not won. And so that's why, as your mayor, I will continue to stay focused on improving the disparities that exist, meaning closing those gaps where we know they lie. And while on the New Orleans City Council, making sure and listening to that collaborative that we did finally make good on that diversity study, that disparity study that spoke to those real gaps. And Ms. Margaret mentioned some of them. Majority of our businesses in the city, yes, they are small businesses and they are minority owned. But when we looked at the data, it said that 2% is what they received as it relates to receipts. And so that's something that we have to focus on, and believe me, I am. She mentioned the $5 million fund that was released, that mobilization fund released several weeks ago. And thanks to our partners with that Liberty Bank, as well as, yep, you got that right, Senator, you're right. Liberty Bank keeps on, right, building that trust in the community and investing in our people and our small businesses. And so I'm so excited because we turned the map on that NOLA build. And we turned the map by not focusing heavily on primes, but focusing on where the needs are the greatest, and that is among our small businesses, minority businesses, and women-owned businesses. That's where those dollars will go, and we will see a real impact. And not only that, we will continue to grow that fund. So while we started with $5 million, I'm not satisfied. We're not satisfied, but it is a start, and we're going to show you that we're going to do good by our people. In addition to that, I have to acknowledge our Director of Supplier and Diversity, the Office of Supplier and Diversity of the City of New Orleans, Ms. Camille Hazur. I know that the office purchased a table here. I told her that I was going to give her a shout out. I don't see, my eyes aren't on her right now, but just know, she's over there waving. Thank you, Miss Camille. She told me, she said, you know, I had the opportunity of working with the first Black president of the United States, and now I have the opportunity to work with the first female of the city of New Orleans. And I said, let's go get them. And we are getting them. Yep. And just in a short period, we've been able to close that gap in terms of the time to certify our DBEs. Now, the days were initially 730 days. And we've dwindled that down to 15 days. That's progress. That's cutting out red tape. That's meeting people where they are. That's getting the results that we are here to get. But in addition to that, the city of New Orleans, we know that we cannot do it alone. And it takes partnerships. And that's why you hear that region as a part of this name. But also not just the region, it's the state of Louisiana. And under the leadership of our governor, I do have to say, he is a real partner. And we're working together on many fronts. But the one that we're leading in this workforce development and training initiatives, because we have to ensure that you have the workforce and that the dollars are there. So whether we're looking at the incumbent worker program, the dislocated worker program, because things and times are changing. And we have to prepare our people for the future. Artificial technology, intelligence, it's real. Autonomous vehicles, it's real. And that's why just yesterday it was unveiled, the new manufacturing by Delgado. That's a big deal. And we need to continue to invest in Delgado, and we are. And that's what the state is doing. And we also need to push our people towards those programs. Just yesterday, read about it. Free education, where our people will now get paid to go through a program. And thanks to Latrim, thanks to Elmer's Chocolate, and thanks to Louisiana, it matters. And it does. Delgado is the front door for business development and workforce development for our city and for our state. It is the public institution that will meet our people where they are. And I had the real opportunity of recently serving on that selection board for the new chancellor of our New Orleans location. So this is something that we have to continue to invest in. But make no mistake about it, as your mayor, I see it. And I also understand that we cannot grow business if we do not focus on infrastructure. And that's why you've seen me tackle this infrastructure issue first, front and center. Having the courage that it takes, because the time is now, and that can has been kicked. And I'm not just talking about sewage and water board, I'm talking about the entire system of infrastructure that also touches transportation to get our people to and from. So thank you so much for your commitment to the Black Regional Chamber of Commerce. Thank you. And thank you for your commitment to the people and citizens of the city of New Orleans. And with that commitment, know that you have it right back as your mayor in the entire city of New Orleans. Thank you so much.
And I'm going to ask that Mr. John Matthews of the Louisiana Economic Development Office come up to share with us. Mr. Matthews is a native of New Orleans and has a Bachelor's of Science degree from Southern University in Baton Rouge and a Master's degree from Loyola University in New Orleans. John has served in our government administration since 1993 and most recently is LED's Senior Director of Small Business Services, and since September 2003, he has been the architect of a comprehensive array of programs and resources that build the capacity, cultivate opportunities, and accelerate growth of Louisiana's small businesses. John collaborates with many stakeholders in Louisiana and surrounding states in effort to foster a proactive economic development climate required for small business space to sustain and grow in these communities. Please welcome Mr. John Matthews.
Thanks, Kalisha. Pursuant to a directive by Governor John Bell Edwards, with the support of Secretary Don Pearson and Assistant Secretary Mandy Mitchell, who is here with us today, Louisiana Economic Development's Small Business Services has established, reestablished, or supported many of the programs that provide you with the resources that you need to grow and maintain. I want to take a few minutes to talk about the Hudson Veterans Initiative. These are two programs that were established to provide you with greater access to state procurement. the administration felt like we needed to improve those programs. So in this short time, I'm going to give you a few instances where we've made improvements to our Hudson and Veterans initiatives. First of all, previously, there was a single goal established for all state agencies with regard to doing business with individuals that are certified under the Hudson Veterans Initiatives. Now, each state agency has a goal established in order for them to do business with you. In addition to that, we have provided better education to our procurement officers that are doing business with you in order for them to make your efforts more meaningful. Also, we've heard from you that oftentimes you team with a prime on a bid. Then after that prime receives that bid, they no longer find you in order to do business with you. We've taken steps to ensure that if you're part of a team that bids on a project and that project is awarded, we want to make sure that you get the work that you have deemed responsible for. So I want to say to you in these short moments that when we look at the Hudson Veterans Initiative, I can tell you that this administration has taken significant efforts to improve those programs. We want to make sure that all Louisianans, our small business community, women and minorities, gain an opportunity to do business with the state of Louisiana, sell your goods and services, and to make sure that you have a seat at the table of opportunity. Lastly, I want to mention that we encourage you to visit our website, www.opportunitylouisiana.com. We need you to go there and do a couple of things. One, get certified as a Hudson veteran. Two, we want you to make sure that you understand or better educated about the number of programs that we have to help you with securing your business and growing. The other thing that I would say to you is that, if you get certified and as you become a Hudson Veterans certified company, it helps me to make the argument that there are Louisiana small businesses, particularly women and minorities, that we make sure that we engage in order to provide you with opportunities for work. Lastly, we have folks here at table 25, I believe, at our Small Business Services team that are here to answer questions. We have a table out front, and I would like to thank you very much, and hopefully each of you that want to do business with the state of Louisiana, get certified. It's free, it's online, and it doesn't cost you anything. Thank you.
I'm proud to bring up our next speaker, Representative Gary Carter Jr. Gary is a Louisiana State Representative and civil attorney. He's the Louisiana State Representative for District 102, which encompasses the West Bank of the city of New Orleans, known as Algiers. Gary is also an experienced civil litigation trial attorney, currently practicing with Frischards, Holiard, Frischards, and Impostado. He also serves on the Appropriations, Budget, House and Governmental Affairs, as well as Judiciary Committees. He is a principal of Connect Strategies, LLC, and Trademarks and Hashtags, who proudly did our programs for us today, providing full-service branding, political, and digital solutions. Gary is going to speak with us this afternoon related to Opportunity Zones. Please welcome him.
Thank you, Kalisha, and for that introduction, the great work that you do for the New Orleans Chamber of Commerce. We certainly appreciate your efforts. And I also want to acknowledge my legislative colleagues who are here today. We have Representative Jimmy Harris, Royce Duplessis, Rodney Lyons, and also Representative Greg Cromer, who's now the mayor of Slidell. And please give them a round of applause. Before I got up here, and I should have led with this, before I got up here, my wife pulled me aside and she said, "Don't forget the 5 B's. I said, "The 5 B's? She said, "Be brief, brother, be brief." And I'm going to do my best to be brief, but I certainly want to acknowledge our governor. When we took office 3 years ago, we had a $1.6 billion deficit. We had a $2 billion deficit the following year, and we were faced with drastic cuts to health care, to education, to senior centers across our state, drastic cuts. And now we find ourselves with a surplus of hundreds of millions of dollars. We are poised in Louisiana for growth, and thank you, Governor, for your leadership, and thank you for all that you've done to bring this state back to where it ought to be. And one of the things that helps Louisiana be poised for growth is this thing called opportunity zones. If you haven't heard of them, you really need to spend time and Google, research, reach out to your CPA or an accountant and find out how you, us, members of the Black Chamber of Commerce, local businesses, how we can engage and participate in what is estimated to be perhaps the biggest tax incentive in the history of economics, American economics. One of the concerns, it is President Donald Trump's tax cut, but this is not a political speech. There are those of us who believe that Donald Trump's tax cut disproportionately favors those with money and wealth, and those are legitimate concerns, but it is the policy and it's the law of the land. And we need to know this is the law, this is how should we participate, how can we do it? And very briefly, let me see if I can explain it to you. The purpose of opportunity zones is to identify distressed commercial industrial centers. What used to be good areas years ago, for instance, in Algiers, we have the whole General Mire corridor. You have the corridor that extends from all of Callio, how I say it, from the river all the way up by the Superdome. You have Avondale. You have them scattered all throughout the state. And if you have capital gains taxes, you can defer your capital gains taxes if you invest in these opportunity zones. Those of us in this room, we have profits, we have mutual funds. Those of us who have stock options with companies that we worked at a long number of for many years, there are tax gains that you can have. You can literally, instead of remitting money to the IRS, you can go buy some property in an opportunity zone and defer those taxes. And it is set up in a way that any gains that you have on your capital gains taxes and you hold it for at least 10 years, you get free capital gains relief from the IRS for life, into perpetuity. It is a way for us to create wealth and pass down wealth for generations to come. And it is important that we not just criticize legislation such as Donald Trump's tax policy, but we understand it and see how we can benefit from it, how we can create wealth, how we can pass it down. And one of the other things, we have to figure out how we can use other incentives, such as historical tax credits, such as the Quality Jobs Act, that can fit with the opportunity zones. It's a great opportunity. Second, for those of you who are not necessarily sitting on a nest egg of money, mutual funds, and all of this other stuff, we know, based on these opportunity zones, that there's going to be pent-up demand to invest in areas that are in our communities. The General Mire corridor, the Callio corridor, up and down Claiborne Avenue, those sorts of corridors, Avondale, our port systems. We know that there's going to be pent-up money and demand people to defer their taxes to invest in those areas. I'm a firm believer that a rising tide lifts all ships. So we should look to invest in those areas so we can participate in growing it. We know that this is incentives coming. We should make our money follow the money that we know is coming. And then finally, there's going to be ramped up investments in those areas. We need to be looking at what your business can do, what our businesses can do, how we can take advantage of what they're estimating is going to be one of the biggest tax incentives ever. It's important that you consult with a lawyer. It's important that you consult with your CPA. But I want us to know what's coming. And it's important that we know right here in our backyard, one of the biggest opportunities, economic opportunities, has just started. It was set to roll out February 1st, but the delays from the government shutdown has delayed it, and the IRS just issued final guidance. So it's brand new. So I encourage you all, especially those of us in this room who are concerned about how do we create wealth? How do we do our own job creation? How do we pass on our wealth to the next generation? We need to know how can we maximize our money and take advantage of opportunities that we have. So thank you for your time. My wife is looking at me. I don't know if I was brief enough. And I always bore people with tax policy. It's boring stuff, but it's important. It's how we can create wealth and pass it on to our children. So thank you all so much.
Thank you, Representative Carter. Now for our keynote speaker. I have the pleasure of introducing someone we are happy to all call our governor of the great state of Louisiana. Governor John Bel Edwards inherited a $2 billion deficit at the start of his administration, representing the largest budget deficit in the state's history. After years of hard work, he and a bipartisan group of legislators worked together to stabilize Louisiana's budget for the first time in a decade. The governor has secured the largest economic development project in the state's history, providing health care to working poor and worked to make Louisiana's economy the largest it's ever been. Governor Edwards is a man of faith. He is a devoted husband and father, a West Point grad, a former Army Ranger, and member of the State Bar. He believes that diversity is one of our state's greatest assets and has assembled one of the most diverse cabinets in the state's history. Please join me in welcoming our governor, the 56th governor of the state of Louisiana, Governor John Bel Edwards.
Thank you. Wow. This is really a sold-out venue. I want to thank all of you for attending. I want to tell you how much I appreciate the invitation to join you today. And Kalisha, thank you for the introduction, but way more than that, thank you for all of your work as executive director. And I want to thank David as well, the chairman of the board, for the invitation to be here with you today. You know, I think Gary and Kalisha both hit some of the high points. The fact is we've made a lot of progress in Louisiana. And the fact is I cannot be more excited than I am about our future in this state. You know, since 2016, we've landed 128 major new economic development projects that are creating more than 27,000 new permanent jobs, retaining more than 21,000 jobs, and involve $33 billion in capital investment in our state. And as Kalisha mentioned, one of these was the #2 economic development project in the United States of America in 2017. It is the largest and best economic development project in our state's history, and it happens to be right here in New Orleans on Poydras Street with DXE Technologies. And I could not be more happy about that. And the mayor was telling you about the excitement in New Orleans. Well, let me tell you, that project came to New Orleans over about 3 dozen other cities all across the country. And the reason that happened was because we could demonstrate to the people making the investment decision that unlike what had happened previous to my administration, we were going to invest in our human capital, in our people, in terms of higher education so that they could invest their dollars here and know that they would have the employees that they need to be successful. And it made all the difference in the world. That's what's leading to all of that investment I just talked about and the job creation. And in fact, today, in the state of Louisiana, the size of our economy measured by the GDP is the largest it has ever been at $252 billion, more than $250 billion. Just this week, we saw that this economy is not only growing, but it really is lifting all boats. In the fourth quarter of 2018, personal income growth in Louisiana was 4.5%, and it too has reached an all-time high of $215 billion. You know, this is quite a change from where we were 3 years ago, with that budget deficit that exceeded $2 billion. We had high unemployment. We had cut higher education more than any other state in the nation over the previous 8 years. We had raised tuition more than any other state in the nation in that same 8-year period. We're doing so much better. We have a lot of momentum. But nobody's dancing in the end zone because we got a lot of work left to do. And we can't get it done without you, without your partnership. That's why I'm so happy to be with all of you here today. And one of the things that we're looking at doing in this session coming up is we're trying to find a way to give a state incentive to that Opportunity Zone program that Gary just told you about, so that we can do our part to make sure that capital flows to these economically distressed areas, to create more opportunity and more prosperity there. And I believe we have found the proper vehicle to do that, and I look forward to advancing that in the upcoming session. I almost said special session, but this is the first year I've been governor we haven't had a special session, and I'm happy about that. That's what stability will do for you. And by the way, all of the stability we're enjoying today is the result of bipartisan work, hard work, because there are no easy answers to a $2 billion deficit. I want to thank the New Orleans Regional Black Chamber for being a key member of the Louisiana Alliance for Economic Inclusion, and I want to thank Kalisha, who serves as the chair of the Alliance. You know, there are many diversity initiatives that we have prioritized and strengthened during my administration. So LED, in partnership with Thrive NOLA, has supported an innovative initiative known as Launch NOLA that provides water management and green infrastructure training to assist disadvantaged businesses, minority and woman-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses, and other small businesses. And Launch NOLA has produced 2 graduating classes with a 3rd group currently underway. We have also reestablished the bonding assistance program within LED in order to provide minority-owned businesses, woman-owned businesses, and veteran-owned businesses and other small businesses with increased ability to take advantage of opportunities in the construction industry. And since the reestablishment of that program, it has yielded $13.2 million in contracted amounts and $1.5 million in bond guarantees. We've also, at DOTD, raised the goal for the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program from 9% to 13%, the highest it has ever been at the Department of Transportation. DOTD's DBE program was designed to level the playing field for minority businesses wanting to do work with the DOTD on U.S. Department of Transportation federally assisted projects. In 2018, DBE firms, primes and subs, were awarded over $36 million in contracts and paid almost $23 million last fiscal year. I've also directed the Montreal Convention Center and the Louisiana Stadium and Exposition District to strategically focus on increasing access to business opportunities for minority-owned, women-owned, and veteran-owned businesses. As a result, the Convention Center and LSED have independently launched business opportunity programs to provide minority contracting opportunities, with each of the agencies focusing on the inclusion of the Hudson Initiative and identified certified businesses. Since the program's inception, the Convention Center has awarded multi-year, multi-million-dollar projects to local businesses that are certified through these state programs. In an additional partnership, we've supported the business information sessions hosted by Mayor LaToya Cantrell's Office of Economic Development. And these sessions are designed to connect local entrepreneurs and business owners with useful tools and resources that they need to grow their businesses. We have worked to enhance the Hudson and veteran initiatives. In the Southeast region alone, there are 532 companies Hudson certified and 79 veteran certified. And this is just a snapshot of the resources available to small and minority-owned businesses. And there's so many things that we have to do to increase opportunity and prosperity here to make our businesses grow. And one of the things we need is a healthy, productive workforce. Well, I will tell you, on my first full day in office in January 2016, we expanded Medicaid in the state of Louisiana, and today 480,000 of our working poor brothers and sisters have health insurance that did not have it when I became governor. There are more than 50,000 in New Orleans, 45,000 in Jefferson, 20,000 in St. Tammany, about 16,000 in my native Tangipahoa, and the list goes on. And as a result of Medicaid expansion, more than 60,000 women, many for the first time ever, have received mammograms. Over 35,000 adults have received colon cancer screening. More than 65,000 have been screened for breast cancer. You know, we had 97,000 of these people received inpatient and outpatient treatment for mental health, and 31,000 have received inpatient and outpatient treatment for substance abuse. And sadly, over 1,000 people have been diagnosed as a result of these diagnostic evaluations with either colon cancer or breast cancer. And there are many other diseases that are being diagnosed as well. But at least the diagnosis is now coming earlier than it otherwise would have, while there is still time for treatment. And then that treatment is also available through the Medicaid program. So I'm excited about what we're doing there. And by the way, it helped us close that budget gap because we have saved over $300 million state general fund because we simply brought our federal tax dollars back from Washington instead of having our dollars go to the other 30 states that had expanded Medicaid. It's simply the right thing to do. I'm also excited about what we've done around criminal justice reform in Louisiana because we are saving money that we are reinvesting in the system. Most importantly, we are safer as a result of this because we weren't getting a return on our investment in corrections. And I am the first governor in decades who can tell you that today the state of Louisiana does not have the nation's highest incarceration rate. But I'm going to ask you to step up and do a little bit more. Grant interviews to people seeking jobs after they've left our correction system. Hire individuals when they show up and they're qualified for that job. It will make a tremendous difference. We have a lot of work to do. Simply put, $7.25 an hour is not a meaningful wage in 2019, and we need to increase the minimum wage in the state of Louisiana. We need to erase the gender gap in pay, which is the biggest, the widest in the United States of America, right here in Louisiana, and that ought to offend all of us, not just the ladies who are here in this room. How many children are trapped in poverty needlessly, simply because we don't pay their mother what their mother is worth? We have to do better. And speaking of pay, my number one priority for the legislative session that starts April the 8th is that for the first time in 10 years, the state of Louisiana is going to give a pay raise to our teachers all across our state. But not just to our teachers, also to our support workers, because every person who works on that campus is responsible for delivering that education. So from that bus driver to the lunchroom worker, the paraprofessional, the school secretary and janitor, they're going to get a pay raise too. Support workers, $500. Our teachers and other certificated personnel, $1,000. Because it is still true that the number one ingredient to quality education is having a highly motivated, professional, well-educated teacher in that classroom teaching within his or her area of certification. You know, I look around this room and I see a lot of successful people, and that's good. But if you're like me, you owe a lot of that to the people who taught you. And so if we want opportunity for our children and our grandchildren, we have to invest in them. And make no mistake, while the pay goes to the teachers, the investment is in our children. We have to do it. You know, there's a lot that we have to do in Louisiana. But you know, while we still face these challenges, we at least do so from a position of strength today, unlike where we were 3 years ago. We have turned the corner. We are in a better place, but we have to keep it going. And so I'm going to ask for your continued partnership. I'm going to ask for your prayers so that together we can continue to move our state forward and that we leave nobody behind. That's what we should aspire to. And I know that that is what your core mission is. That's what's been talked about here today. And so I'm going to invite you to work with me and my administration so that together we can make sure that we continue to move Louisiana forward. God bless you, and thank you for the opportunity to be here with you today. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am David St. Etienne, the past chair of the New Orleans Regional Black Chamber of Commerce. And at this point, I want to acknowledge our present chair, Dr. Margaret Montgomery Richard, lady in the blue, if you will. Once again, thank you for your attendance. And one of the significant programs about economic development here at the New Orleans Regional Black Chamber of Commerce is Deliberate Spend 365. And that program was designed to foster spending amongst our members. And by doing that and calculating and reporting that spend every month, we're over $30 million in spend amongst each other as we are today. And that's a great accomplishment for New Orleans Regional Black Chamber. The second we want to talk about is economic opportunities, what we call economic clustering. That's where we put multiple members together in the same type of businesses. Instead of being subs, are now being primes. We have 3 examples of that. One with the New Orleans Convention Center, where 3 of our members have now joined together to participate in one, the personnel contract. That would be the temporary staffing augmentation personnel contract at the Convention Center. Another example of that would be the digital signage and multimedia at the Port of New Orleans, where we have 3 of them that came together once again as a prime and the 6th largest port in the country, and have won that. So the third one will be in St. John Parish, where we have 3 transportation vendors that came together once again, won the St. John Parish contract. And so they went from subs to primes by economic clustering. In saying that, I am also president of the Louisiana Chamber of Commerce Foundation, which is a statewide minority chamber. And to that end, we wanted to take our economic clustering success here and build it throughout the state. So right now, I have Lake Charles, Shreveport, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Monroe, Alexander, and of course, New Orleans, all black chambers of commerce, regional black chambers of commerce in their areas here today. And so that network, we now have 7 black chambers of commerce throughout the United States, or throughout the state, reporting to the Louisiana Chamber of Commerce Foundation. And that economic zone, if you will, economic clustering opportunity now extends throughout the state. And we're over 910 members throughout the entire state. So with that being said, thank you. With that being said, what we've done here in New Orleans, we're duplicating throughout the state. And we will soon have one statewide type of contract that a minority business will have. Soon to come at the next annual meeting, I hope. All right, once again, thank you very much.
Good afternoon. It is my pleasure to stand before you today. My name is Nathaniel Scales, and I am a proud member of the NORBCC. I, too, am a small business owner of Garden Doctors. We provide landscape architecture and ground maintenance services, irrigation installation, and can provide you with all of your landscaping needs, commercial and residential. As a small business owner, I too understand the importance of partnering with larger businesses, as I have two major companies present here today, Landis Construction and New Orleans Fairgrounds. They have given me the opportunity to provide services to their businesses. So with that being said, I have the distinct pleasure of introducing three small businesses and members of the NORBCC, and they will briefly share with you the services they provide. It is my hope that many of you in the audience today will be able to partner with many of the small businesses that are here today. I would like to bring up at this time, in this order, Kelvin Mills, President and CEO of SLT Technology. Madeline Mitchell, after Calvin Mills, CEO of Maximum Marketing Solutions, and Gina Corbett, owner of Jinche Specialty Catering. Thank you.
Good afternoon. As you stated, my name is Calvin Mills. I'm the President and CEO of SLT Technologies Incorporated. We are the only partner for Oracle in the state of Louisiana and one of only 5 in the entire U.S. We are responsible for training individuals in the tech industry and getting them trained and certified to be able to go after tech jobs. And as you guys know, here in the state of Louisiana, we have about 7,000 plus jobs that are unmet right now. And with the addition of DXC here in New Orleans, an additional 2,000 jobs that are available. So we're doing our part to make sure that we can help bring up the tech workforce here in the state of Louisiana. And again, as I stated, we are the only company that is authorized by Oracle to do that, and we're very proud to say that we're only one of 5 and the only minority. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Madeline Mitchell, and I'm owner and CEO of Maximum Marketing Solutions. Planning memorable events with details to help your audience recognize and come to truly appreciate your event's overall purpose can be challenging. From small business conferences to large corporate conventions, Maximum Marketing Solutions provides customized business strategies and event logistical support to ensure that your event is a true success. Among my past clients are Google, the Lawyers Committee of Washington, D.C., and I'm currently serving as marketing director for NOLA's premier Caribbean carnival, Bayou Bacchanal. So contact Maximum Marketing Solutions for your next corporate or social event.
Good afternoon. My name is Gina Corbett, and along with my partner, Uche Opalabi, we own Janiche Specialty Catering, which is a full-service catering company in New Orleans. We service a variety of local New Orleans cuisine in addition to international cuisines. We are proud to be a New Orleans minority-owned company, and we would certainly love to hear from you all for your next catering needs. Thank you.
As promised, we are going to get you out of here on time. So I am going to first of all thank you all for coming out this afternoon to attend the New Orleans Regional Black Chamber of Commerce Annual Policy Luncheon. And we are being intentional about using our members in hopes that you all are intentional about making relationships with them and helping to grow and sustain the minority business community throughout our 10 regions.